On the handler. I've had a chance to sit down and watch it, and congratulations on such a great film.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's a labor of love. It's an homage to '80s and '90s action flicks, and it was my first step into being an action star, I guess. And I wanted to make sure I kick some ass in it.
Definitely. So let's start there. This is a big step for you, going into the action genre. Tell us a little bit about what's made you decide to go over to the action side, and what did you enjoy about it the most?
Yeah, it's funny because I never thought of myself as like an action star, action type of guy. I've always stayed in shape, but I'm not a big, tall, intimidating, Arnold or anything like that. So I never thought about it that way. And so when I was approached with it, I said, hey, listen, the only way it works for me is that I got to come across as like relatable and like almost like a John McClane in Die Hard
Yep.
over a Arnold or a Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I was like, also, by the way, I don't really know how to throw a punch. So we're going to have to work on that a little. And, the director, Mike, was like, hey, man, no worries. He was like, you're right. I could either go with someone else who's more of like that invincible guy, but I'm choosing you because I want that relatability. I want the average guy to be like, hey, you know what? With some training, maybe I could defend my family or stay up in this house and kill some people too if I was in the same situation. So I trained with a Muay Thai fighter for 30 days straight and try to make me at least believable, close enough to it at least,
Yeah, definitely. And so did you audition for this role, or were you actually approached about being in this film?
Yeah, I've known Mike, the director, for a couple years now, and I've worked with him on like a very small scale, like little supporting roles in his movies he's done. And during COVID, we were both kind of stagnant, and he just approached me with it, and he was like, "Hey, what do you think?" And I said, "Let's do it, man." So I didn't have to audition. He's seen Anabolic Life, which is my first feature, and he was a huge fan after seeing that because at an indie level, you don't really see people who go through body transformations the way I did in that film. And I think he knew whatever I'm accepting role wise, I put everything I can into it.
Definitely. Tell us a little bit about the training, because this program goes to Thailand. So tell us a little bit about the Muay Thai boxing training that you did. How full on was that?
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I read that you do film reviews in Thailand, right?
That's correct. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, my training partner Matter Dems, he's trained in Thailand as well. He's, I guess, not a professional Muay Thai fighter, but he's definitely he competes at least at an amateur level. So I said, listen, man, obviously I don't have the flexibility, I don't have the cardio, and I just want to make sure I look like I know what I'm doing. So every day we worked on kind of all three of those things: increasing my cardio, being able to look like I can throw a punch, also how to take a punch for film related, to really be able to sell it, and then also like knees and kicks and that kind of thing that he would almost train when he was in Thailand with.
Yeah. So which scene did you find the most challenging in this film? Taking that step up to being in an action film, what scene did you find the most challenging to pull off during the film?
Interesting. The most nervous I was the first fight because it's like, okay, 30 days of training, like here it is. There's no turning back now. That was the most nervous fight, and that's the first one in the film too. But the most difficult one was when I had to fight my trainer. He's kind of like the boss battle at the end of the film because he moves at such a fast pace that I knew that if I didn't give it everything plus more, I could get really hurt.
Yeah.
So there's actually like fear based in that fight to like stay at his level. And I also didn't want to let him down. He worked really hard with me, and he trained just as hard as I did to get me to where I was. And if I wasn't able to keep up with him, and I would have felt really bad.
Of course, because of recent events, it's something that's been in the news, but how easy is it to get hurt making a film like this? You just mentioned there about the fear of getting hurt in a scene like that. How easy is it to get hurt when you're making an action film?
Oh, I think it's extremely easy. You have to build like immediate trust with your partner, especially in this kind of film. We didn't have months or weeks of rehearsals for the fights. Literally, Matt, on set the day of, we'd have people that we requested have some kind of fight choreographed experience, and they would come in and we'd be like, okay, we want to fight here, and then he would on the fly create it, and then we'd spend maybe 30 minutes to an hour rehearsing it, and then that was it. So immediately I knew I couldn't get hurt because we didn't have money to like wait for me to heal or anything like that. So it became an instant trust bond between me and my partner in the fight, where I was like, listen, I don't care what the director's saying, what the cinematographer's saying. This is between you and I now, and let's be safe. Let's be slow if we have to. Let's get it done. I don't want you to because usually when they hear action, the adrenaline pops up, and they think the faster the better. They're going to look like Bruce Lee or something. That's really not the case in film, So it took, I always had that conversation with everybody coming in on each day, and just to protect myself and to make sure that they were staying safe too. It's pretty, like you said, it's easy to get hurt if you try to be faster than your body is ready. Your mind and your body isn't connected at that point, and you can do things to hurt people.
Definitely, yeah. And now going right back to the start, what was your first reaction when you read the script for this film? What was it that made you read the script and then say, I want to be in this film?
It's funny because the script was really loose. Mike hit me up and he was just like, listen, I got access to this house, and I'd love to do a film where you're kind of protecting an object that the mob wants, and you just literally just fight everyone he can send to you, and I'm going to get 30 people to come to set to fight you, and it'll be cool. So that was the gist of the script, really. So it was only like maybe 20, 25 pages. So I didn't really have much to go off of. And I did question it at first because I've been working almost 10 years at this, and I never want to take a step back regardless of how cool the role sounds, And, but, after talking with him and seeing the location and seeing that he had this, professional Muay Thai fighter to help me, I said, you know what, why not? I'm at this point, I'm not going to get many chances at becoming an action star. I might as well take advantage.
Definitely. And aside from all the training, how did you prepare for this role? Like playing an ex-Marine, I know that it's you want to get that part of it right as well. Did you end up talking to ex-Marines and Marines to get a better insight for this character as well?
I mean, I watched documentaries. My brother is a veteran from the Air Force and security, so of course I hit him up a bunch, and it didn't. My character didn't really need too much of a backstory for what the film is.
Yeah,
it's kind of light on that side of things, but I really wanted to understand what they felt like when they came back. And I remember I had this one story from, I used to be a personal trainer before I was an actor, and the guy who came in to personal train, he was an ex-Marine like my character in the film, and he was there for like 6 months, but you could tell there's something wrong and beyond PTSD. And finally, I think we were having a drink or two, and he was like, Chris, the idea that I can't kill anyone anymore, it drives me crazy. And the next day he re-enlisted. Yeah. And that kind of always stayed with me, and it kind of worked into this character as well. The idea that he was able to turn on to be able to kill without any emotion so easily. It's because something that he's comfortable with. And then I think also, being a veteran in this film, you always have to have honor and courage, and I wanted to prove that as well too, regardless for any veterans that are watching it.
Definitely. And you talked before about wanting to keep the character relatable for people as well. How did you go about doing that? And was that something that you had some very long conversations with the director about?
I didn't have too many conversations with Mike about it. I think he trusts me and what I'm going to do with it. So, I would bring up to him every now and then. And pretty much it was the idea that I didn't want to get too lean. I didn't want to get too big. I wanted to show that every time I fought someone that I got hurt, I showed pain, I showed fatigue, I showed the struggle that the average man would be going through, the emptiness, the sadness, all those types of emotions that you usually don't see from like a hero character in an action film.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned before that this film is a tribute to 80s and 90s action films. I have to ask the question, what are some of your favorite 80s and 90s action films?
That's funny. I really love Bloodsport, and there's something so raw about that, and young Van Damme. I really the one of them that really sticks out to me. It's kind of in the mix of them. It's not truly an action film, but it's more it's the Predator with Arnold and all them. there's just something about that. He still has his one-liners. He's still the hero. He takes on, the invincible and obviously wins. So that's one of the ones I remember sitting on the couch with my dad as a kid, and my dad just being so, like, throwing popcorn at the TV and yelling and really enjoying it. And I was like, you know what? If I could be anything, it'd be kind of cool to have, like, to create something that maybe a father and son are watching one day, and the son is looking at his dad, loving how I'm killing people or whatever I'm doing in the film, or my one-liners, and he's laughing. It'd be kind of cool to be able to do that for someone else.
Definitely. And was that something that was important to Michael? Did he want to make this a tribute to those classic films?
100%. That was, like, his main goal. Like, there'd be times where I'd be like, well, what if we shot it like this? Or, what if we did this? And he'd be like, nah, that's not my vision. Like, he didn't go out there to make, like, a new age action film. He went out to make an homage 80s action, where it's like, quick fights and then one-liners to end it, and the hero walks away. And the only difference is I made sure the hero limped away instead of walked away.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I want to say congratulations on this film once again. Is there anything you would like to say to our listeners out there before they go and check out The Handler?
Yeah, Dave, thanks for having me. But I think the main thing to remember is that this is an indie action film. It's not a Marvel blockbuster. So go into it understanding that we didn't make a film to, like, become rich. We only make films to eat. So by supporting us, you're not only putting food on the table of me, the director, but the entire cast and crew. And so I just hope you enjoy it for what it is, and nothing more than that.
Definitely. Well, Chris, thank